Serious, what's the creepiest/scariest thing you've seen but no one believes you? I used to have a buddy that lived in the same neighborhood, a few streets over. One night we were having a couple of beers in his backyard while playing cards. I had some things to do the next morning, so just before 10 I said my goodbyes and shoved off. It was a short walk, maybe 15 minutes door to door, so I never drove. Anyway, it was a nice night, uneventful trip. But when I got home, my roommate was coming out the front door, coffee in hand, and dressed for work. He gave me a funny look and said he thought I was asleep since my truck was in the driveway. I told him where I'd been and asked why he was going into work at night. That's when he kind of laughed and asked if I was drunk. We stared at each other for a minute and then he told me it was just after 5 in the morning and he was going in just like he usually did. In my entire life, I'd never felt more confused than I did in that moment. I could tell he was dead serious, but I knew I had just left my friend's house. I checked my phone and sure enough, 5 something in the AM, my roommate left for work. I paced circles in the living room for a bit, then called the friend whose house I'd just left. He groggily answered and confirmed I'd left at 10 the previous evening. I have no idea what happened during those 7 hours of my life, and it gives me chills to think about it all these years later. I wasn't drunk, I wasn't tired, no one could have slipped anything in either of the two cause lights I'd had, no known medical conditions that would have caused me to black out, and nothing has happened like it since. I just don't know what happened to that time. That's amazing. I have a similar, but much milder story from when I was maybe 8. I was standing by the window in my bedroom watching the sky get darker before bed. Then before it got properly dark it got lighter and lighter instead, and it was the next day. I really don't think I slept a full night standing upright at my bedroom window, and the transition from evening to morning was seamless. I was walking to class from the dining hall on my campus when I saw a lady yelling for help and banging on a window of a nearby building. Lots of people were walking past, but I was the only one who seemed to acknowledge it. I went to the window to help, and she told me she was locked in a room in the building and that she needed me to come in and open the door. Now, I have no idea the layout of this building and where she was located, so I decided to call campus security for help despite her pleading with me not to call them and to just let her out. I call them, and when I hear them coming I go to greet them so I can take them to the window. I leave for maybe a maximum of 15 seconds, and when I return with campus security she is gone. We can't see her at the window, and campus security goes inside to double check, and sure enough there is no trace of her. Campus security definitely thought I was crazy, and I'm sure my professor thought I was full of crap when I explained to him why I was late. No one seems to believe me that this happened, but I swear it did. Definitely ghosts. That's some X Factor stuff right there. Hello, my name is Ghosty. I'm 547 years old and today I'll be singing the Ghostbusters theme. When I was around 9 or 10, this guy who looked about 40 just kept being in every single public place I was in. With my parents or not, he was there. At the store, yes he was there. Bought everything me and my family bought. In school, yes, he was staring at me on the other side of the school gate. Out in the city, yes, following me in the streets. I told my parents so many times and they just ignored me and said I need to stop believing everything my brother says. Since my brother was really into creepy stuff at the time, he was 14. One day this guy just disappeared. The next thing I knew was that one of my friends kept seeing the guy everywhere. She many times pointed that the guy was outside the school gate watching her. I never saw him on the other side of the gate. Then she told me the guy disappeared after a few weeks. Then this other kid started telling everyone about the guy following him. About 7 months passed and I moved to another town. Still gives me creeps. Edit. For the people asking what he looked like, he was a gingerhead, not really good looking, and that's all I remember. Not quite sure how young I was at the time, but it was probably between 5 to 8. I was in my babysitter bed at the time in her trailer park. It was 3 AM. I had woken up because I had to pee. When I woke up I looked down the hallway to see my babysitter leaning against the wall like one of the stereotypical cool guys do in movies. And I made eye contact, and I felt my body go cold because she was still sound asleep next to me in bed. I went under the blankets trying to hide, and when I looked back she was gone. I didn't want to sound crazy, so I've never told anyone. I just sat in her bed watching infomercials until 6 AM when she woke up. Never even thought about sleeping there again. I honestly forget how much this affected me until I started writing this. Really freaked me out, man. So I was getting on the elevator in the metro. To get from the train platform to the main platform with the turnstiles and exit, you have to take the elevator. So I got on with this older guy. It was just us two. And I glanced over, and this guy was watching me, pointedly, and he was smiling, but not in a nice, welcoming way. You know, in cliche creepypastas where they talk about monsters with unnaturally wide smiles? That's exactly the kind of smile this guy had. Anyway, I looked away from him because I thought he was just crazy or something. But out of the corner of my eye, I saw him making these weird gestures all over his chest. It almost looked like he was making the sign of the cross or something. Finally, the elevator doors opened, and we both got off and walked towards the turnstiles. I swiped my card to exit, and then turned around to see if this dude was following me, and he was gone. There was nowhere else he could have gone. We were at the only exit for the station. Unless he turned back, ran and got on another elevator in about 4 seconds. I don't know. I don't know where the hell he went. Anyway, I'm from a small town and sometimes weird things happen in the city that I don't quite understand, but I just chalk it up to me being practically a redneck. But this was really out there, and it's been bothering me. Anyway, there we go. That's all. Thanks for reading. In the same room of my old house, I have seen a convulsed face floating outside my window. My brother has also seen it too. I saw the same face over a number of periods, and it would do stuff like smile and float closer and further from the glass. Our youngest brother a few years later complained that he didn't want to play with the boy in his room anymore as he was getting too much blood on his toys. It was the same room. Not sure if this counts, because I have at least 2 people that do believe me. After coming home from work one day I was walking through my kitchen towards the living room when a frying pan just flew across the room and hit me square between the shoulders. My roommate and a friend of his both saw it happen and lost their crap. Wasn't the only time we saw weird shit in that house. I saw a shadow person in the same spot almost every day. Heard extremely heavy footsteps stomping across our roof with no explanation. My roommate says he saw a full laundry basket just flip itself upside down while it was flat on the ground. He also claims to have seen an ugly little green goblin looking demon in our living room one night. The scariest thing I saw was at the age of 16. I woke up early in the morning, 4:30-5 AM. Me and some friends were supposed to go on a road trip for the weekend. We had a long ass ride to one of the stops we wanted to visit and didn't want to be there till late. I look out my window and it's still kinda dark outside. I walk downstairs and see wet footprints all over the house, and suddenly a big man, like 6 feet 7 inches, I was around 6 feet 1 inch at the time, just bowled past me and out the front door. Not really creepy, but I shat at least 5 bricks and bolted upstairs to my dad. Nothing got stolen, but things were scattered all over the house. Years ago I was riding my bike home. I was on back roads, lots of fields. Going by this one field something kinda caught my eye. As I slow down, someone/thing comes running out at me just yelling and starts to chase me. I booked it and pedaled my ass out of there and didn't stop till I got home. Next day went to show my buddies where it happened. No houses are near this field. No one believes me and thinks I'm just high as the birds, but someone/thing was there that night. I imagine it was some a-hole, but just can't see someone being that bored. Thank you for watching Internet's Funniest. Please like, share, and subscribe.